Sorry. Sorry. Always a professional, aren't I? We will finish up the board meeting. Yay for us, yay for me. I believe what we're going to get in this segment is the bureaucrats talking about bureaucracy. I think that's what's coming up. Because when I looked at the board meeting minute, what's supposed to happen here, there's nothing here. They're done, according to this. Okay. Oh, wait, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is, right here. The briefing. Let's see what it is. Okay. What is it? What is it? What is it? Oh, but before we do that, we've had extreme excitement. There's been extreme excitement at the TRIMET, ladies and gentlemen.
9123 priority.
Go ahead. I'm here at Johnson Beach speaking to the operator.
Okay, we have 1706, vehicle 4226 at Saratoga layover, stating that a passenger just stabbed her.
9122, I'll be en route to 17 to Saratoga.
Thank you. And 9915?
Okay. See you later.
9915, en route to Saratoga.
Copy. 13 copy.
Copy.
2259. 167.
767 at North Shore.
All right, I'm going to have you head up to 27th in Saratoga to begin a fill on 1706. Watch your CAD. I'm going to be sending you a description.
Anyway, I'm sure everybody, sorry, I'm eating as usual. Anybody that cares about TRIMET has heard about that incident. And we don't really know much about it other than it was at a layover. It was the last stop. And she asked him to get, it was a woman. She asked him to get off, and he stabbed her in the leg. And the bus driver escaped through the driver's side window. So what I understand happened here is that the guy was trying to get into the driver's compartment by going around the barrier. Okay, now this situation is definitely on TRIMET. Okay, and I heard, I'm not going to dig up the clip because it doesn't matter whether they have the clip or not, but they had said at a board meeting sometime last February, March, that they were going to have the full driver barriers installed by the end of 2022. That Andrew, whoever that executive director guy is over there, his name is Andrew something. And he said that. Well, of course, they lied, as they do constantly. The full barriers are not in yet. We heard at a board meeting a couple months ago that they just passed a resolution to fund it. So he just lied when he said that back then, that we're going to have this in. And let's just go through a little Twitter search here, because what's happened as a result of this is just, oh yeah. Yeah, poor hobo. And it's just another creative. What's happened here on the TRIMET feed is just disgusting, man. Now I can't even goddamn read. Oh no, what is this? What the hell's going on here? Oh no. Okay, I have to go back at what happened here. What is this nonsense? Okay, there's no video. Oh, the account was terminated. Oh, Eli. What's this? Hold on, I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway, we have this whole feed is full of fucking anti-TRIMET nonsense here. The right-wingers have taken this opportunity to just go after TRIMET and Portland like they do, because Portland Portland is kind of like the poster child for the right wingers to show you how awful the Democrats are. Yeah, if you believe that tripe, then I feel sorry for you, because if you think Republicans are going to change anything, you're out of your mind. Okay, they'll put more people in jail, of course, but they're just as corrupt as Democrats. The two parties are actually one party pandering to the different segments of the population. Listen to this crap, and forget about that for a minute. Now we're on the fentanyl hysteria. After near daily exposure to drug smoke, because TriMet won't do anything to protect them. See, this is a lie. This is not TriMet's fault. This whole fentanyl hysteria is another COVID mass formation psychosis. Okay, remember when during the middle of the COVID psychosis, everybody said all the unvaccinated needed to be taken to concentration camps? Well, now we're getting this with this fentanyl. Okay, it's things are out of control here with the red-blue narratives. It's just insane, man. The thing is about smoking heroin or fentanyl, and I know this because I used to smoke it. Okay, way back in the day, is that you cannot get high on somebody else's smoke. You can't do it. It's not gonna work. It doesn't work. I've read the studies. Somebody smoking fentanyl in the back of your bus is not going to have any effect on you. But, we can't be reasonable. We can't think logically anymore. Everything is now hysterical. Okay. Now, I don't blame the TriMet for the fentanyl, since it's actually not a threat to anybody except the person doing it. But I do blame them for the stabbing, because it's their responsibility to have those driver barriers installed, and they haven't done their job. So that's on them. The fact that they've left their drivers. What happened with Eli here? The fact that they left their drivers exposed like this. Look at this. It's the same line. The treatment is not the answer here. Yeah. So here, everybody's going fucking crazy on the fentanyl. And the funny thing about that is that it also, we saw the same exact stories coming out of LA, Seattle, Portland, and Minneapolis, all at the exact same time. What a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. It's a complete coincidence. No, it's mainstream media doing a targeted mass formation psychosis campaign. And unfortunately, it works on a lot of people. Now, I don't know. You can't really use social media to actually see what the public thinking is, because it's, you just get the social media is not a good place to get what does the public think from. Okay, it's not you're not going to get accurate. It's either going to be slanted one way or the other. But this problem with the collapse of civilization is the fentanyl and the failed war on drugs and the failed war on opioids. It's just one failure after another. The collapsing society, the war, bailing out banks. Nobody can see the bigger picture here, and nobody wants to think rationally. So we're stuck in this paradigm now of hysteria. So that being said, let's just do what I'm here to do.
We're ready to resume, folks. This morning, we will receive a briefing.
Their 5-minute break was 20 minutes.
On the Regional Transportation Plan, General Manager DeSue.
Yeah, okay. All right. The General Transport. Okay, see, this is bureaucracy for the sake of bureaucracy, okay? This is nothing but bureaucracy here. We're just going to see the regional transportation. This is just 100% bureaucracy. Regional plan sets, regional vision, regional goals. What we point to for federal funding, the list of projects, and financially, it's all bureaucracy here. Look at these little charts. You know, they don't have a functioning transit system, but they're thinking about all this useless shit here. TRIMET's constrained revenue forecast. Yeah, sure. All constrained operations cost. Look at this. All constrained operations costs through 2045. Pfft, what bunch of liars they are, man. But while they're restrained, they're going to do high capacity transit. They're going to do project development. They still have the Southwest Corridor in here. $2 million for that. It's already been voted down. They already fixed the steel bridge, remember? But nobody, yeah, all this stuff they're going to do, but they're financially constrained. So this is the bureaucrats being bureaucrats, finding out ways to expand their bureaucracy. So let's listen. It's just like garbage.
Thank you, Vice President Baumann. We are providing this update to the board to satisfy a new step in the Regional Transportation Plan, or better known as RTP, for 2023.
Yeah, another little cute little initials. RTP, they got 1 million of them, 1 million acronyms.
It requires TRIMET to submit a letter of support from you, the board, our governing body, with a final...
Your governing body? You mean your puppets that do what they're told? You liar.
...project list by late May. With that, I'll turn it over to Tara O'Brien, our Senior Coordinator of Government Affairs, and Jamie Snook, our Director of Major Projects.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be here and giving the opportunity to talk about the Regional Transportation Plan. I'm Jamie Snook. I'm the Director of Major Projects and the Engineering and Construction team.
Whoa.
And I'm Tara O'Brien, Government Affairs Manager.
Government Affairs Manager. Woohoo! Really important people.
So we're here to talk about the Regional Transportation Plan. Metro is responsible by the federal government to create and coordinate and develop the Regional Transportation Plan, or the RTP. So we're really here to talk about the work that we've been doing with Metro and our partners across the region. We are here specifically just to talk about the transit projects that are in the RTP. Next slide.
We don't have any finances, but we have all these projects. We have to raise your fare. We don't have any money till 2045. But look at our list of projects. There's lie after lie after lie. Are you ever going to get tired of all these government officials lying to you? It's just one lie after another. Every single day, too. There's like a different lie from a different agency. Multiple lies daily.
The RTP provides a blueprint for the vision and the vision to guide our transportation system over the next 20-25 years. So really, this is the blueprint.
Yeah, everything's going to be great. Yeah, we're going to be digitized. We're going to all be fucking clones. Everything's going to be great in 25 years. Luckily, I'll be long gone by then.
Into how we're going to invest our regional and federal funds as we move forward to develop the system that we want in the next 20 years.
Sure.
The regional transportation...
Develop the system as you want. You had a good system. You just deconstructed it on purpose. So,
plan sets the vision, goals, policy, and objectives, like things like equity, climate...
Here we go again! Oh my God! I don't want to hear any more about equity when people are living in tents. Okay, when half the country's poverty-stricken, I don't want to hear about your equity. You lying pieces of shit.
Resiliency and mode share, just to name a few. But these are really...
so no wonder the Republicans get so much traction. When you listen to this stuff, it's like insulting, man. Stop talking about equity and inclusion when it's obvious there's no equity and no inclusion. Then you put some black faces and some minority faces in positions of power, and somehow that's supposed to change anything. Well, it hasn't changed anything, as people can see.
The policies and the guidelines that we're trying to achieve as we move forward with the Regional Transportation Plan and our vision. For a project to be federally funded, it needs to be on the regional transportation list. So it's really important that we are making sure that the things that are important to us are on this list. The list of projects and policies will be analyzed to know if we're meeting our regional goals. And so we'll be looking at, with the list of projects, how
what a bunch of crap this is, huh?
Doing, are we meeting our goals? Are there things that need to change?
You
those
can't
kind
even get your transit system running, so you're not meeting your goals. All right, you're not meeting your goals. You failed. Your drivers are getting attacked. The trains can't move because you have the entire dispossessed population of Portland on there, and all of the so-called leaders can't figure out another place for them to go. So no, it's just a mess. Okay, this is just nonsense.
of things as we develop the list for the projects and as the regional transportation analyzes those projects. The regional transportation plan has a fiscally constrained list. So a financially constrained list really means what are the projects that we think we can reasonably afford. And so those are both the things that we know are revenues coming in, but other revenues that we think are reasonable, like federal grants. Typically, we're very successful with federal grants, so we have a reasonable expectations that we.
As long as it's a pork barrel, you can get money. But for people, nothing. For actual people, nothing. Pork barrel, everything. War, everything. Banks, everything. People, nothing. This is a society of criminals, run by criminals, for the benefit of criminals.
Would be successful in the future. We also have a strategic revenue list that looks at if there was a huge opportunity or new federal funding or something new that came up, what are some other projects that we would want to pull from the strategic into the financially constrained? Next slide. The RTP is updated every 5 years, so you can imagine a lot's happened.
Now, why is the Southwest Corridor still here? Why is that still here? Voted no, but they don't care. Okay, we're going to keep doing it because we are not accountable to you, the people. We are an unaccountable agency. I mean, if this was an accountable place, this Sue and all of his executive staff would be out the door right now. But it was set up to specifically avoid any kind of accountability to anybody. It's not an accountable organization. It does what it does with immunity.
In the last 5 years. So the last regional transportation plan was updated in 2018, and this is just kind of a snapshot of some of the things that we've accomplished since then. The Division Transit Project is completed and open for revenue service.
Yeah, very unreliable. The buses are junk. They're always breaking down. The TSP doesn't work. They're already recalled once. Every day we hear a couple dozen calls about the buses not working. So fail.
Powell Garage is complete. We have
$165 million for that one, folks.
Advanced our electric bus infrastructure, and
yeah, everybody's going electric, and they can just pull the plug on you when everything's electric. They can just turn you off, and don't think they won't do it.
We are currently in construction with the Better Red project.
The Better Red, the most useless project since I've been following this shit. Does nothing. There's already tracks to go to. They're going to send the red line to, where is it? Is it Hillsborough or wherever it is? I don't know, but they already have the tracks. You don't need the Better Red. Just run it. Okay, it's a useless pork barrel.
Received the Southwest Corridor Record of Decision. All of these projects were in the financially constrained list for the 2018 RTP.
It's in the financially constrained list. I see. Southwest Corridor, which the voters voted no on, is in the list.
And projects that are now complete or in progress of being complete. Next slide.
Oh, look at this.
This is giving a little snapshot of where we are in the timeline for the regional transportation plan. So we are currently in the call for projects phase.
Call for projects. The translation is call for your pork. Pork is being handed out. Come get your pork.
We will be submitting our project list this week. I turn to the expert. And what we're asking from the board is a letter of support for the project list. So we will submit for the project list.
I wonder if the board will support it. I think it might not get through.
This week, between February and summer, we'll be looking at the project list and how those projects meet our goals, an analysis of how are we doing, are we meeting our goals, are we not meeting our goals, and then there could be some refinement phase where we look at, well, if we're not meeting our goals, what would it take to meet our goals? And so that's all happening this spring, leading up to the summer, where we will have a draft regional transportation plan that will go out.
Oh, by the way, it looks like they've got the bus side staffed somewhat okay at this point. I mean, I hear them filling runs finally, and Very few, no reliefs. The problem is on the max side now. There's not enough rail operators. Don't forget they cut the service 20%, so they finally made to the point where they can cover their cut. Even though they got the money to keep the service the way it was, the people over there running this crime syndicate cut it anyway, and then blame the labor shortage, which was a lie. It was a pay shortage. We all know the truth.
To the public for the public review, with final adoption in November of this year. So that's my high-level overview of the process in the regional transportation
High level, yeah, that girl.
plan. I'm going to hand it over to Tara to take over.
Great. So in your board packet, there is a list of TRIMET's projects on the Regional Transportation Plan list that we'll be submitting. Next slide, please. The types of projects that are on the project list in the RTP really cover the full gamut of everything we do here at TRIMET. So they are all projects that are over $2 million.
Everything you do pork barrels. You hardly barely do actual public transportation, but you do pork barrels.
And the starting point is our 2018 RTP list. So the types of TRIMET projects you'll see on our list are capital projects like high capacity transit, zero emission bus projects, or fleet
High capacity. You don't have any transit.
replacement, as well as all of our operating, maintenance, state of good repair, asset management, as well as buckets, as we call them, of programs for regional capital projects or operations
Buckets of pork.
projects that we want to be able to refer to show our priority. And as Jamie was saying, we have both a fiscally constrained list of projects for the short term, 2024 to 2030, a long-term fiscally constrained, as well as a strategic list. Next slide, please.
Come on, where is it?
So our revenue forecast that we have worked on with finance and
All right, stop the press for a minute. Here's what they're going to do. The Columbia bus base. Yeah, great. You really need that, right? Merlo Center Powell bus bases. 5th bus base. What? What the hell? 5th? They want another garage? They want another fucking garage. They want to redo the downtown terminal. I guess that's North Terminal. They want to redo Beaverton. They want to, yeah, just pork. Yeah. Okay, I can understand the buses and the trains. Park and ride construction? High capacity. Yeah, they can really do this shit, right? Oh my God. Look at all of this. They got big ideas over there for their bureaucracy and their pork.
and in coordination with Metro really covers the variety of revenue sources that we reasonably expect to receive. This chart shows the breakdown of revenues between now and 2030. And this is what dictates what can go onto our fiscally constrained list based on what we expect to get for revenue in this time frame. We also have a long-term constrained revenue forecast that helps to inform our long-term targets. Our capital cost target, which is really the capital projects.
Fair, 7.6% of the revenue. It's like nothing. It's like nothing. And yet they make this case that if we don't get more fair, we're going to be in trouble. But there it is, right in front of you there. Okay? It's nothing.
Is what the Regional Transportation Plan is most focused on for receiving federal funding. Our capital cost target for the short term between now and 2030 is $1.69 billion. And so that does not include additional revenues that partners might put towards high capacity transit or other projects as well. And that helps to inform what we think we might afford. Next slide, please. So before I get into some of the capital projects on our list, I'll start by talking about our operations priorities. So in order to determine what capital projects we might be able to include on the list, we first need to show what our operating project costs, our maintenance project costs, as well as all our state of good repair and asset management, because our priority is really being able to operate the system that we have now. And that has been very much the message we've shared with partners as we're developing our project list. And costs have increased, fare revenues have been down, ridership has been down, and so our priority is really making sure we can continue to operate this system and then looking at additional capital improvements we might be able to make. And I will note that our operating costs do cover the implementation of Forward Together, plus slight service increases after that. Next slide, please. So now getting into our constrained capital projects. So this first list of high-capacity transit projects are the Tier 1 high-capacity transit HCT projects that Director Kim mentioned earlier from the Metro High-Capacity Transit Plan. These are projects that are delivered with support from partners. So we've included in our short-term list the 82nd Avenue and TV Highway transit projects, which are still very much under development, but as placeholder projects as those continue to be refined to hopefully be able to go after federal funding for those in the future.
27 million.
The Montgomery Park streetcar project.
All bureaucracy. It's all nothing. None of this is going to help you. It's all nonsense. It's not going to help anybody but these bureaucrats.
Which is in partnership with the City of Portland. Better Red project is not yet substantially complete and so remains on our list. And then I will also note that the High Capacity Transit Portland to Vancouver project, which had been on TRIMET's list before, is now being referenced as a part of the Interstate Bridge Replacement Project as one project. And then next, we have identified
the granddaddy pork barrel, the Vancouver Bridge. So much pork and graft in that. Billions of pork and graft.
Some funds for future high-capacity transit projects that we'll be looking to move forward on in the future. So Southwest Corridor had been included on the entirety of the project, had been included on our cost-constrained list in the past, and we know that we need a new revenue source to be able to deliver a project at that scale. But we are, with support from partners, able to keep a small portion of that project on our cost-constrained list to be able to ensure that if things change, we are able to continue to refine that project. And so there's a small amount of funds for project development on TRIMET's list, as well as funds to go towards engineering and right-of-way in the longer-term forecast. We also have the Steel Bridge Transit Bottleneck Project, some funds for project development there. As you may know, the Steel Bridge is a major bottleneck for all of our MAX trains traveling across the bridge, and we've identified that there is a need to address that bottleneck to ensure that on-time performance is met in the future, and so that is a priority.
Yeah, they're going to address the bottleneck. Well, we've had this bottleneck for 25 years, and 25 years later, we're going to address it now because we have to find some way to keep ourselves employed.
Of TriMet, it is on the Tier 2 project list for future high-capacity transit projects, and so we've listed that on our list as well in the long term. We've also included a small bucket to support project development for any future FX or projects in the longer term. We've not yet identified exactly.
Yeah, see, they got big dreams. We got big ass dreams. We're fucking bureaucrats. We have all these great ideas that you're gonna love. Of course, we're all gonna make tons of money on this, but we won't talk about that.
Which might come next, but have at least called out the need to continue to study the build out of that system. Then I'll turn it over to Jamie to say a little more about Better Bus again.
Better Bus. Better Bus, also called, we destroyed your transit system so we could rebuild it the way we want without asking you about it, which is what Better Bus actually is. Along with all the other transit districts who did the same thing, but it's all part of the New World Order.
As I mentioned earlier, that we are just entering into contract with Nelson Nygaard to help us develop the project pipeline for Better Bus. So we have a bucket.
They have a bucket for the goddamn private contractor, because we don't do anything in TriMet. We just hand out money for other people to do things. We don't actually do anything. We just give them the money to do it.
Listed in the RTP for Better Bus so that we can leverage that funding to advance Better Bus improvements across the region.
Thank you. Next slide.
I'm sure they're all very nice.
So moving on, additional constrained project list capital projects for TriMet are all of our bus facilities and zero emission bus projects. We now have a clearer sense of where zero emission bus improvements need to happen at each of our bus facilities and are prioritizing including each of our bus facilities and the zero emission bus improvements at those facilities on our constrained project list. So Columbia Bus Base is one project where we're actively beginning to seek federal funding and need to include on our capital project list as well.
Why did they get that Columbia Bus Base again? I'm not sure why they did that. I mean, they set up POW to do the long buses. So what's the point of the other one?
As the other facilities where we'll need to make future improvements. Fleet replacement of all of our MAX, bus, and lift fleet also is included on TriMet's project list. We've also made some new buckets to reference future federal earmarks that we anticipate requesting, as well as adding the earmarks that we have recently received, like the Willamette Shoreline improvements and the Oregon City Transit Center. And then other capital project buckets align closely with some of the STIF programs that you all have heard about recently, where we can point to for transit centers or bus stop and access to transit improvements.
Get that pork rolling. Roll that
Next
pork.
slide. And as for our strategic list, so this is the list of projects that we have not yet identified revenue for in our constrained capital.
They even got West on here. West double the most failed thing in their goddamn system, and they want to do pork on there too. It's just pork everywhere, man.
Forecasts, but are a priority in the future. So we have included a new project for the strategic operations and capital projects to support transit system growth and expansion in order to meet our climate goals. We have also used the high capacity transit study to inform.
Meanwhile, we'll have some wars. We'll save the climate here, but we're going to keep having these wars going on because, you know, the military is the greatest polluter in the world, by the way.
Which projects we might feasibly build in the future for the future FX corridors or the construction of future transit projects, which we've not yet identified the revenue for. We're also removing longer-term high-capacity transit corridors that had been on TriMet's list in the past, now that we've conducted this new analysis showing which corridors are really most ripe for future investment in high-capacity transit corridors.
It's just hilarious to listen to this when they don't even have a transit system, but you got all these grandiose plans. So disconnected.
So removing a longer-term strategic project for a double tracking of the West Line, as well as capital construction of high-capacity transit on I-205. Now that we've conducted initial analysis, and those have really showed up at the...
We've conducted the initial analysis. Yes, we have conducted the analysis.
The bottom of the list for readiness for future investment. Next slide. So some of the takeaways to be aware of is we've, since the last RTP, significantly increased our costs towards asset management, facilities, fleet replacement, and state of good repair.
See this? We will need new revenue sources and more committed local match. So they're going to try to tax you folks. They want more of your money, you know, in this kleptocracy that we live in. The government's feeding on us. And they're stealing it all. They're stealing it all, folks.
Our transit system is aging and needs more attention to keep it in that state of good repair, and are making sure we're reflecting the full costs of those projects on our list. The federal infrastructure project funds that we've received are certainly helping to advance priorities like zero emission bus, but we know that there are new revenue sources we'll need to seek to be able to deliver all those projects. And then lastly, to deliver future high-capacity transit projects, we know that we need local jurisdictions to support local match for those projects, and that's reflected in how many capital projects and high-capacity transit projects are on our list. Next slide. And with that, we're happy to take any questions on TriMet's capital project list. And as of right now,
I'm sure the board has all kinds of questions.
we are submitting the project list to Metro this week and do expect some further refinement around costs and potential projects as that analysis moves forward to evaluate whether the full list of projects is helping us meet our goals. And then in June, JPACT, which General Manager Jasu serves on for TriMet, will be voting to authorize public release of the draft regional transportation plan for review, and then a final approval in November of this year. So we will.
Okay, so I see Eli has gotten something wrong here. I better call him.
We'll share the final project list of costs with the letter when that is available, but the board packet information should provide some initial detail for you all. Thank you. Questions?
Director Gonzalez,
Oh,
do you have a question?
Ozzy with a question.
I do. I didn't want to jump in front.
Yeah, look at you.
Okay. Thank you, Director Bauman. Thank you for the presentation. As board members, and perhaps even as private citizens, what can we do to support this work or help reinforce these activities?
Oh, what a great question, Ozzy.
That's a great question. I think it is certainly helpful to us at TriMet to continue to
What a dumbass question. Just vote yes is what your role is. They'll take care of the rest.
reinforce our state of good repair asset management needs that we have. I think there's a lot of jurisdictions and regional partners that are looking to us to build out a future high capacity transit network and to expand transit service. And so having other voices to help share the true costs of operating our transit system, as well as our shared vision for wanting to expand service and serve more people of the region.
Boy, does she know how to talk bureaucratic nonsense. What babble.
Is certainly
I like they
useful.
got the little name
Do you need
tag.
any thoughts?
See, she's got a little name tag. Where's your name tag, lady? Dessou has his. She has hers. Where's yours? We want your name tag.
No, that was just to add a small bit, but as we start looking at
You're not going to be able to match that. This woman is governmental affairs. She knows how to talk the bullshit crap.
additional revenue sources, I think it's going to be a big lift on everyone's part to try and figure out how do we fund those major initiatives
Yeah,
that we
how do we
want
get the money?
to
Where do we
build.
get the money? The money. We need the money. We need more money. We're government. We want to keep stealing your money. Do a bunch of shit we don't need.
But we're all working together.
We're all working together. We're going to get your money. We need money. We've got to keep our jobs.
Okay, Director Edwards. Director Way,
Oh, come on, Director.
you have your
Wade.
hand up?
Yeah, sorry, did Director Edwards want to? Oh, okay, sorry, it's hard to see everyone. This is a great overview and a presentation. I do have a question, just kind of piggybacking on, the revenue sources, right, that we're trying to seek. Tara, can you would it be possible to open your presentation again to slide 6? There was that pie chart of, here are the different revenue sources, because I do want to make a comment and I have a question around that. I think it was slide 6. Yeah, that one. So this is very helpful to me and hopefully also for the public who's watching. So I noticed that, this is the forecast, right? 6 years out, 2024 to 2030. So something that caught my eye was the fair slice, which is 7.6% of revenue fares would go into, capital projects, etc. What is that assumption based on? Is that assumption based on fair revenue, fair prices increasing every year leading up to 2030? So that's my question of this. You know, how did we come up with that number?
That's a good question, Kathy.
So I'm happy to answer that as well as refer you to finance with more information, but we worked closely with finance on our revenue forecast. The fares amount does assume a growth in ridership each year.
Yeah.
That does show an increase in fares accompanying that. At this point, the fare revenue does assume one slight increase, but does not account for additional fare increases in the revenue forecast.
It's so minuscule, it doesn't matter at all.
I will say the federal revenue forecast does also assume many new federal grant revenues from.
Of course, they're giving all the money to Ukraine, and now they're giving more money to the banks and another criminal bailout, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on.
The infrastructure, IIJA, and the Inflation Reduction Act to be able to grow that pot of money, as well as
the Inflation Reduction Act, which is the exact opposite of reducing inflation. It's just so hilarious to have to be exposed to these government people. It's just gotten absurd.
State revenues that may be available to fund our projects.
Yeah, there's money everywhere. Just not.
Thank you. So I think that kind of makes sense to me. So in other words, you're saying that this pie chart can change year to year?
Yes, absolutely. And this is a summary that is really just to create a constrained cost target for TriMet to work towards summarizing our projects. So this is a 6-year time frame, but it would certainly look different for each year of the revenue forecast and will very likely change depending on new grants awarded, changes in payroll taxes, as well as what our ridership looks like and what fares are coming in based on that ridership.
Right. So just want to be clear. So the fare, again, the lime green piece is really based on ridership numbers and potential projection, but it's not necessarily based on an annual increase that we might expect to, like that the board might, for example, expect to take action on.
It does not assume an annual increase every year, no.
Correct. Okay. Thank you.
All right, that's it. No questions. Thank you.
I'll ask a follow-up question on that same slide. These are revenues from all sources for all uses, including capital projects and operating.
Yes, we have split out the operating revenues and capital revenues within the revenue forecast that we've provided, though there are certainly operating revenues that we might put towards capital projects in the future, putting operating. So this pie chart does show operating and capital revenues, yes.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tara, and Jamie for everything. And I think it's really empowering as TriMet board members to know we have very strong and knowledgeable staff. And please let us know as you guys, staff needs assistance working with other regional leaders as well. So thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions from the board?
No,
Anything else, General Manager DeSue?
I just want to thank staff. I know that there's been a lot of effort, a lot of hard work.
You work so hard in your little office where you're not going to get attacked, you're not going to get fentanyl, and you're not going to have any of the problems that the people that actually do the work have.
Of Tara and also Jamie, just as well as Tom and his team So really appreciate them and the work that they're doing, and stay tuned. There's great things that's coming.
Great. I will now conclude the briefing. Thank you for joining us today, and everybody have a great day.
All right. Well, that's the end of that. That was, lovely. Thank you. Over and out.